Hey, you hear that? I think a storm is brewing. I think a Storm Collectibles is brewing a brand new Hollywood Hogan action figure. You can hold your applause for that one. This is Wrestling Figure Legacy, and this is an unorthodox figure for me to review, both in terms of the figure itself as well as my channel. Normally, I just do documentaries, and if I do anything off script, it's like blind box videos and things of that nature. I'm making an exception for this. This is incredible. We have a Hollywood Hogan figure. It is in scale with Mattel. Like, it is a very good scale to fit in with Mattel figures. For those of you who don't know, Hulk Hogan got in hot water because he said some naughty things on camera. And if you want to learn more about that, you can watch my upcoming wrestling figure controversies video. So there's a preview of that. Anyway, he got banished from WWE. He's slowly being reintroduced. It's only a matter of time now. But for the moment, this is our only access to a Hollywood Hogan in-scale Mattel style figure. Storm Collectibles have done Hogans in the past. They've done large-scale Hogans, red and yellow. I think they have actually done a Hollywood before, but they've never, A, been very affordable for most people, and B, have been in scale with Mattel figures. So this is very special to us. It's on sale at Ringside for around, I think, $30-something, and it came just the other day. This is brand new as of this moment. I'm super excited to look at this. It's going to be a fun video today, guys. I've got a lot of Hogan figures I'm going to compare this to, so please stick around and watch the whole video because there's a lot coming on the way. Let's get this thing open, speaking of, but, I mean, God, look at this thing really quick before we actually open it. He's got the boas, he's got the necklace, he's got the weight belt, the shirt, the Hollywood bandana, sunglasses, interchangeable hands. This thing is everything you'd want out of a Hogan figure that they can legally do. Well, more on that in just a little bit, so let's get this thing open. I can't wait. I didn't even realize it came with a stand. That's a nice bonus. So before we actually look at these accessories, I'll put his hand back in here. Mae Young's son, you stay put, boy. Let's look at this head sculpt right here. He's got the heel 5 o'clock shadow. Hogan had various states of facial hair in the NWO. I mean, we all know him from the dark brown, blackish style facial hair. This is kind of like the middle ground between him actually having the black beard and him not having it, which works very well because it is kind of airbrushed on there. It looks very realistic. Let's get an even closer look at him. I mean, just look at this. This is a fantastic head sculpt. Like, this looks just like Hogan. What's great is that Hogan for a long time was kind of let's say apprehensive about his bald spot, and some of his figures actually had the bandana glued down. Like, I remember in Classic Superstars, a couple of them actually had the bandana glued on his head, even though they molded it bald. That's Hogan for you. But luckily this one is pretty much that. I mean, that's how Hogan looked, like with this hair right here. The sides. All right, so let's take a look at his torso. I have to mention it. Nice nipples, Hogan. Phrase I never thought I would say, especially on camera for potentially thousands of people, but there you go. The torso looks really awesome because Hogan was kind of a bulky guy, and this really does capture it in a way that the Mattel wouldn't have. I think they're going to give him that skinnier torso too, and I just think this looks so much more like Hogan. This is really reminding me of the Toy Biz figure too, because it has that meaty like bulk that Hogan had, especially like in the arms and everything. That's why I love this so much. Here's the back of him, and you can read right now just because it's there. Hollywood Hogan, it says on his weight belt. Now, luckily, I have been clued in on the weight belt being very difficult to put back on, so I think I'm not going to take it off. What's interesting about this is one of the main reasons this is different from Mattel. Look at the way they do the crotch. It's literally like a rubbery, soft, very soft plastic. There is actually nothing there. It's a T-bar is what they call it. There's nothing in there, so there's actually space. You can see it right there. There's space between the torso and the legs. It's only attached by like a pole. This is a very strange thing to film myself doing, is like fondling Hulk Hogan's crotch, but I assure you it's for the purpose of review. So look what you can do with this. Because the elbows have this extra kind of joint style to them. I really don't know what you would call that, but it's a separate piece. Like, this is actually a whole piece right here, and it gives him a really good... Well, there goes the hand. Well, while I'm here, I'm going to guess right now this is not something actually meant to be played with, although you probably could. It's just going to fall apart fairly easily because, yeah, that just kind of goes on there. But it's not very snug. This is definitely an adult collectible for posing, not necessarily for playing. Keep that in mind if you're getting this. You get a really good idea of his range of movement here. Normally the Mattels would stop right about there, right? But with this one, because of the way the joint is, you can go all the way like this. And it does make a big difference because now he can actually grip something like this. You can grip his own hands, for crying out loud. One of the other main joint differences is this part right here. This gives him more range to go in and out like this, because now look at that. You can't do this with Mattel. Like he is really, really pivoting right here to his torso. And that's how it looks from the side, because there's this extra piece cut right here. That is really good, and it's perfect for Hogan because you can do the guitar playing pose with the title. So that's really impressive range of movement on Hogan on the torso. So let's take a look at his legs. Another thing that reminds me of the old Toy Biz figure is that it just feels like a bulky action figure, and I love that about this. So here is the side of the tights. He has a lightning bolt, and honestly, it's kind of like a decal. You can see the line, the split between the actual mold and this decal on here. Not sure why they couldn't have hid that a little better, but it is what it is. Another little subtle thing about this is that he has the knee pads, which have the white outlines, which is a small touch, but it really makes it look authentic to Hogan. And here on the side is the boots. Is one of the best parts about it. He has really glossy boots, which is awesome, and he has this really cool detailed like painting of himself and the flames, just like his actual boots were. It looks fantastic. It reminds me of the Classic Superstars one, which looks really good too. So let's take a look at this leg. This is a more interesting leg. First off, you have the same kind of boot style. And then you have this glorious logo. Again, it's clearly a decal. It's kind of shiny, then it goes to that like matte finish on the sides. I don't know why they couldn't get that to look more authentically on there, but it feels okay. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's going to rub off or anything. It's got the film strips you can see right there, which is the Starcade style attire. Maybe this is a different offshoot of that. I don't know for sure. Here's one of the things I want to bring up. Man, that foot keeps falling off. So here's Hulk Hogan's shoe. He wears it when he goes on jogs. So yes, you can actually bend the toe like this. It gives him that extra balance you can pose him with. One thing I want to look at right now, and I'll get into this a little bit more later. I want you to look at this part right here. It says Hogan. His real boots say NWO on the inside, and this is a clever way for them to get around the copyright. They can't make NWO insignia. They can't reference WWE in any way. This is 100% a Hogan action figure, unaffiliated with WWE. So there is no NWO or any title belt with him that they would own. This is strictly a Hogan figure, and since I'm talking about this right now, let's take a look at his shirt. We'll get into the leg articulation in just a second. So let's take a close look at this shirt. First off, it's just a piece of cloth, but it also has the back cuts like he would often have on his half shirts, which is a really nice touch. The shirt itself, this is a decal, just like the tights are. I'm not sure why they couldn't make it look more printed on there, like it actually was a part of it, just like the Mattels. But whatever, it still looks nice. It's still the perfect shirt to include with them. He actually wore the Hollywood Rules shirt at Starcade, so this is another perfect choice as far as clothes go. There's not a lot of Hogan shirts they could probably make either, because a lot of them have NWO everywhere. But wait a minute, doesn't that say NWO on his arm? I thought they couldn't do NWO. No, they modified it, and it says HWO for Hogan World Order, which is kind of funny and kind of genius when you think about it. That is a great way to get around not being able to use anything with NWO in it. So well done there, Storm Collectibles. All right, let's take a look at this leg articulation. You can move. The knee pads do restrict movement a little bit, but nothing crazy. I mean, you can bend this thing pretty well. You can pose him just like Shawn Michaels if you'd like. Let's actually do that right now for the fun of it. He's not your boy toy. He has a really great range of movement. Even can go really, really close like this, like he has to go pee. Because, again, this part is empty. This is just a peg. This is literally fully just rubber right there. You can see the crotch piece right here, how it is. Isn't that crazy? I did not expect it to be like that. But you know what? It actually kind of works, I would say. The legs have great deal of posing ability. I mean, you can really nail a leg drop with this thing. Bend his knees like so. He's got the toe articulation, the most important articulation, as we know. Really hit the Hulk Hogan leg drop like that. Let's start putting some stuff on. I already changed this hand out. I'm going to change this one out too. And this gives Hogan the ability to actually hold what I'm going to put in his hands, which I'll show you guys very soon. All right, so here's the stand. This is a hollow Storm Collectibles Hulk Hogan stand. Put his foot in right here, like so. And if you wish to stand him on an actual stand, that is a pretty decent way to do it. Stands up just fine. Pretty cool. I actually did not know it came with a stand. I just guess I didn't pay attention. So here we go. Here's a very important accessory for Hogan. We have the Hollywood bandana. Really simple, but really essential for the perfect Hollywood Hogan. Plop it on him right there. Awesome. Take a look at the head scan really quick, or the head mold, I should say, really quick. Up close with that bandana. That is fantastic. Okay, now we have the glasses he comes with. Right there, some nice shades. So yeah, these sunglasses aren't just a black mold, they actually have a little bit of detailing on them, and they have a shiny black glossy look on the actual eyeglass part, which just makes it look more authentic to an actual pair of sunglasses. So here he is with the shirt, the necklace, the sunglasses, and the bandana. It looks like a spitting image of Hulk Hogan, and I love that. It's a half shirt, so you can kind of see that, you know, he's got that bulk to him on the sides. It's like the perfect amount. They did a really good job with the measurements, I would say, of this particular figure. And now we get to look at the boas, which should be interesting. They just come in a little plastic bag, the feathered boas, and they're two separate ones. A lot of the old ones I have are actually connected. There's already a couple feathers flying around. So here is ultimately what you're going to get with Hollywood Hogan is these boas like so. So there is a spitting image of Hulk Hogan, but it is admittedly missing one major thing, one part of Hollywood Hogan's whole persona that would just complete this figure if they legally were able to do it. And luckily, a long time ago, before it became stupid in price, I was able to procure a Kevin Nash from Elite Series 16, who comes with this all-important accessory. The NWO spray-painted, vac metallized World Heavyweight Championship. And this is exactly what this Hollywood Hogan figure needs. To really complete it, allow me to make my adjustments. This right here is Hollywood Hogan in his best, most personified action figure I think I've ever seen. Everything about this just looks fantastic, especially for the price. You're only paying a little over $30 for this, plus some shipping. But I mean, this is as good as it can really get at this scale, I think. I think when Mattel eventually do release a hopefully modified version of their DM, it's still not going to be able to touch this thing. I'm a fan of Mattel. It's just, I mean, this is pretty much the top of the line I think we can expect. It's not perfect or anything, but it's not that far from it. Yeah, pose with the title in any way you wish. Let's see if it'll actually fit around his waist. Okay, so the championship can just narrowly fit around his waist. I'm barely getting it in the sides there. I frankly can't be bothered to try anymore. But you can definitely, I mean, it can work. You just have to kind of adjust it a little bit. You can get around his waist. Or probably what I'm going to do is just have him hold it like an air guitar, because that's kind of how he's known to do it. Okay, here comes the big question. How does it look in scale with Mattel's? Here is Defining Moments Sting from Starrcade 97. This is like the same basic attires that they wore on that night. And if you look, this is a pretty good scaling with Hogan. The boas are kind of blocking. So there you go. Hogan's bent up a little bit and he's aiming with his pose. Sting is standing straight up. Hogan's head's definitely a little bigger than most Mattel's, but it's nothing that I would say is super incompatible or anything. So there you go. There's the classic Starrcade matchup. I actually have a Toy Biz 2-pack of these two. They weren't the same exact attires, but they're close. Kind of cool to actually get these premium collector figures at this stage. But how does he look against another Mattel Hogan? That's an important question. So here is Defining Moments Hulk Hogan. I added the Jakks Classic Series 8 Hulkamania shirt to him. because I like the cloth look better with this particular figure because it can, you know, rip it off and everything. He does come with the cross right there. You can see they both have that. It's pretty good scaling, I would say. They're very close in scale. And again, Hogan is bent a little bit because he's doing his pose. I would say this is one of Mattel's stronger figures too. Defining Moments Hulk Hogan. Again, with the Jakks Classic 8 shirt. But there's a good idea for you guys to see the different scaling. You can take a look at the necklaces, how they look differently. That one's gold. Let's take a look at the Outsiders, who this figure will probably be displayed with for a while until I find the upcoming Elite Scott Hall in the red and black. There you go right there. There is Hogan with the street gear versions of the NWO. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. Remember, Kevin Nash is going to be taller, so his scaling is still taller. Even though Hogan is bent, it's still taller. Hall is very similar in size to Hogan. Here is Classic Superstars Hollywood Hogan. You can see the NWO Championship. Kind of looks like someone drew it on there with marker and not spray paint, especially in comparison with this fantastic one Mattel included. Again, that's with Kevin Nash. This belt does not come with Hogan. Keep that in mind, people. But they already nailed the belt better. I will say the weight belt on this one is probably overall better as far as how it looks. Let's see the comparisons here. Yeah, CS has the weight belt beat, I would say, but in the back, it doesn't look quite as good. It says Hollywood. In the back of this one, it's more how it actually looked. Hollywood Hogan. And just kind of generic Hollywood fonts right there. This figure is really good, I gotta say. I'm just gonna take the bows off because they're getting everywhere. This figure is really good, like for its time period. This is one of my favorite Jakks Classic figures. The bandana is removable. And he has a really bald head. Here's this NWO shirt. It's very skinny. That was the main complaint at the time. It's just the cruiserweight torso with the shirt mold. But what this thing did fantastically is the tights. Like, it has this crazy lightning storm in the guy's legs. And down here is a really good Hogan portrait. And it even has the airbrush style flames and whatever you'd call this, the designs. You can see there's the NWO logo. This one was missing. So points to this for that because they were able to include it on both legs. Just a really fantastic job on his tights, making it actually look like lightning bolts and having the glow and everything. I really like this figure a lot. But I think this undeniably is the best Hollywood Hogan ever made, especially when you compare them next side by side. I mean, just look at... He can rock his torso back and forth, by the way. And this, I mean, you can't really compete. You know, and it's not really fair to compare what was like a $12 figure in 2000 and probably 5 or so, 2006 maybe, compared to a 2017 collector adult grade exclusive like this. You know what I mean? So it's on a completely fair comparison, but this one holds up as a decent figure on its own. This one is ultimately like the apex Hulk Hogan. And last of the Hogan figures, we have this R3 Hollywood Hogan based on their 2002 NWO return. I remember looking all over for this guy and got lucky finding him one day. These were hard to find. They released an NWO set that had Hogan, Hall, and Nash all in wrestling gear. Hall actually had his red and black because initially he actually wore red and black in WWE before switching to the basic NWO tights. But they had those figures and they had 3 of them in street gear. Just Hogan, Hall, Nash in street gear. Very popular set. Everyone wanted them. These R3 figures, though, they're hit and miss, and this is... I mean, this torso does not look like anything like Hogan, I don't think. Not to mention, this torso looks like he has some kind of scoliosis or something. I don't know what. He's, like, bent. It's a very strange torso they kept using a lot. His lightning bolts are very simplistic. I never really liked the way this figure looked as far as the lightning bolts go. And then you look at the boots, and it's like some yellow-eyed Hollywood Hogan decal kind of stuck on there, it looks like. Decent flame style on his boots, but overall this is an okay figure. But I mean, this thing has been surpassed multiple times at this point. So see ya, R3 Hogan. I'm gonna make way for what was my favorite Hogan figure for the longest time, and the one that I would honestly compare this to most. And this is the Smash and Slam Wrestlers Hollywood Hogan Toy Biz figure. If you haven't seen my Toy Biz Smash and Slam video, go ahead and check it out, because I look at all of these figures and all their variants, and I spent a great deal of research trying to find out which one was which, and I still missed a couple, I think, too. That's the crazy thing. So this is Hogan. He comes with a pull-off NWO shirt. This actually still looks good on modern figures because the way it was actually a little longer on this one, so it kind of checks out with the modern figures. It actually works. Obviously the head scan, yeah, right. The head mold on this one, a little cartoony just because of the style, but this figure was great because it had the bulk of Hulk Hogan. It had the Hollywood Hogan, even has the Hollywood Hogan weight belt. Which, I mean, this came out in 1998, I believe. Like, 98. This is a 1998 figure. This is kind of crazy to think about. NWO spray paint. The tights even have, like, this style to them. Hollywood on the side. Nice big letters. He's got the boots with the detail on it. All these accessories. I mean, this is probably the closest depiction to an accurate Hollywood Hogan figure. And they're just a little trivia. They actually have bike on his knee pads. Not on the real figure. But he does have the white, which is what this one has as well. I don't think any of them have that white detail since. That's pretty phenomenal when you think about it. There's the back, nothing really to see there. But, I mean, this is pretty much the evolved version. This one right here is the evolved version of that. This is what everything you ever wanted in a 1997, 1998 Hollywood Hogan figure. Pretty phenomenal that after all this time we have this, you know. Also came with this 2017 Ringside booklet, which has all these different series. There's a Mankind right there. All this stuff. There's the NWO ring. You can recreate sold out if you wish. Kind of cool to look at all these things. Here's Mattel's Defining Moments line, Macho Man, Nakamura. Here's the Hogan right here. Flair, Wolfpack Sting, which I still have to get. Nash, Balor, and Samoa Joe from NXT. Well, I think that'll about do it for this video. You've seen them from different angles, different poses, the comparison shots. I think this is clearly the premium Hollywood Hogan figure, the one you're going to want to get, even if Mattel gets a license. I have faith they'll make a really good Hollywood Hogan, but this is on a different level. And the only thing you're going to need to really make it special and complete it is the Elite Series 16 Kevin Nash NWO World Heavyweight Championship scene here. I mean, this really does bring it all together. So I guess that's about it. Thanks for watching, brother.